Once there was a king who had a vizier. The vizier was a deeply devout and Allah-fearing man. He always placed his trust in Allah, whether in good times or bad. Whenever he saw the king facing difficulty, he would say, "Your Majesty, never be disheartened. Whatever Allah does, He does for our good." He never forgot to say this, even during prosperous times. One day, the king decided to go hunting, so he prepared to venture into the forest with the vizier and his entourage. Riding on horseback, the king, the vizier, and the soldiers set out. After some time, they reached the forest. There, they dismounted and began to walk in search of prey. As the king and the vizier continued searching, they gradually became separated from the rest of the group. Suddenly, a tiger, seeing them alone in the forest, leapt out to attack. The king, being in front, was the first target. The tiger bit down hard on the king's hand. The vizier, who was walking a short distance behind, saw this and began shouting for help. The soldiers rushed to the spot, but by the time they arrived, the tiger had already bitten off one of the king's fingers. The soldiers killed the tiger, and one of them quickly wrapped the king's hand to stop the bleeding. In pain, anger, and frustration, the king turned to the vizier and shouted, "You wretched man! Now what do you have to say? If Allah does everything for our good, then why did I have to lose a finger while out hunting today?" The vizier, frightened, replied meekly, "Your Majesty, I do not know why this happened. But even after all this, I can only say one thing. Whatever Allah does, He does for our good." The king, enraged by this response, ordered that the vizier be thrown into prison. The soldiers, obeying the king's command, tied up the vizier and took him back to the palace. There, they locked him in a dark dungeon. Days passed. Eventually, the king again decided to go hunt him. As before, he set out with his soldiers toward the forest. Once there, they began their search for prey. Once again, the king wandered too far and became separated from his group, unaware of the danger lurking behind. Suddenly, a group of wild tribal men silently surrounded him. When the king noticed them, he tried to flee but failed. They captured and bound him tightly. To prevent him from crying out, they held his mouth shut for a long time. The wild men carried the king back to their camp, where he saw more tribesmen dancing in front of a statue beside a blazing fire. The tribal people had decided to sacrifice the king to their god by burning him alive. According to their belief, the offering must be perfect and flawless. If the sacrifice had any physical defect, their god would be angered and dishonored. So, when they examined the king and discovered that one of his fingers was missing, they immediately released him. He was no longer a suitable offering. Once free, the king hurried back to the palace and ordered the release of his old vizier. When they finally met, the king embraced him and said, "Truly, whatever Allah does, He does for our good. I was on the verge of death today, but because I was missing a finger, my life was spared." Then he paused and added, "But tell me this, I now understand why I lost a finger, but why did Allah allow me to imprison you?" The vizier smiled and said, "Your Majesty, had I not been in prison, I would have been with you on the hunt. And when the wild men let you go because of your missing finger, they would have sacrificed me instead, because I have no defects. So even in sending me to prison, Allah had a greater good in mind." The king and the vizier laughed together. The king said, "Allah truly sent a man like you into my life for my own good." Dear friends, this story reminds us that we must always place our trust in Allah. Those who believe in Him with full faith are beloved to Allah, and He always remains by their side. How did you like our story? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, and share the video to spread wholesome entertainment.